welcome. We are so glad that you are back. My name is Hunter Bruce. I am the Student Ministry Associate here at CrossLife, and we are going to be continuing our series today called Simon Says. Okay, now if you weren't here last week we talked about the fear of God and how the fear of God doesn't mean to necessarily be afraid of God, but to respect him and then have awe of all he's done for us. But today, it's going to be a little different. We're going to be talking about something a little different. Today, we're going to be talking about love, right? So, what do you guys think that love is? Like, when you think about love, like, throw out some answers for me. What is love to y'all? Elijah, what is love to you? Having compassion for someone else. What a sweetheart. What else? Give me something else. Give me something else. Yes. Yavi and Josh. Wow, that's crazy. You're going to need to reevaluate your friend group. Give me something else. What do you guys think love is? What do you guys think love is? Jaden, your mom. His mom is love. That's good. That's good. Nathan, what's up? Your dad. Okay, give me one more. Dean. Jesus. Nice church answer. That's good. I feel like when we think of love, we think about this warm, gushy, like mushy feeling that we have. I have a mic? No? It's not working? Are you sure it's not?
It sounds like you're being recorded by an Android.
Can y'all hear me now? Y'all are tweaking today. Somebody need to get fired back there. All right, can y'all hear me better now? Is it better? Okay. So, like I was saying, I feel like when we think of love, we think of this warm, gushy, like feeling we get like on the inside when we like somebody or we love somebody, right? See, some of y'all in here might think y'all in love right now, right? Y'all go to school, y'all see a girl or a guy that y'all like, you're like, oh my gosh, like that's my cinnamon apple. Like I love them like so much. Like you think that's like the one, right? But I feel like that's the kind of things that we think about when we think of love. And I feel like those are the kind of things that the world tells us that love is. It tells us those things so that we can be distracted and thrown off from what love is. So I think that worldly love is self-serving. I think that worldly love is self-gratifying. Worldly love is all about self. It's selfish. It's all about what can I get? What can I get out of this relationship? And if I can't get anything out of this relationship, then I must not be in love. That's what the world tells us love is. And biblical love is different from that. I think that the best example of what biblical love is when God sent his son, Jesus Christ, to die for us on the cross. You see, that kind of love is self-sacrificial. That kind of love is putting one another before ourselves. And that is the kind of love that we are going to be talking about today. You see, the Bible instructs Christians to love one another. So if you call yourself a believer, or you claim to know Jesus and worship him, God calls you to love one another. And that kind of love in the Greek that we're going to be talking about today is a term that's called philia, which in Greek is translated, or the word is philia, but in translated, it means brotherly love, like a bro love. So have you ever heard the word or heard of the city of Philadelphia? It's called the city of brotherly love, but that derives from the Greek term philia. So when you think of that bro love or that brotherly love, I think one of the things I think of is SpongeBob and Patrick. Y'all seen SpongeBob? Yeah, right? Those guys are like best friends, right? Best friends to the end. They laugh together, right? They've cried together. They do dumb stuff together, right? They're always messing with Mr. Krabs together, but they love each other, right? And they stick with each other through thick and thin. And that is the kind of love that God wants us to exhibit towards one another. And that is the kind of love that we're going to be talking about today. So if you got your Bibles with you, turn over to 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 22, and that's where we're going to be camping out today. So I'm going to read it for us. Starting in verse 22. It says, having purified your souls by your obedience to the truth, for a sincere brotherly love. Love one another earnestly from a pure heart. So the first reason that we need to love one another is because he purifies us. I think when I hear the word purifies, I think about water. You ever let me finish? All right, thank you. So I think about water. I think about how grateful we are to live in a country and to be in a country that has clean water and it's cold and it's great, right? I feel like water is just so good on like a hot day. Water for me, especially during practice during the Florida summers, will be hard. And so the heat, it just gets to you. You start seeing stuff. You got people throwing up, passing out. It gets crazy sometimes. But I think what I would look forward to at the end of a drill, at the end of practice, would be the water station. You get refreshed, get rehydrated, and it's great. No one's ever thinking like, you know what, I can't wait to get a nice sip of that water that's been sitting in the grass and the heat all day, that everybody stepped through, somebody's probably spit in. Like, that's not clean water. And so you got to understand that the water that we have, it's been purified. It's been cleaned. It's been put through a process. And so what I want to let you guys know today is that if you're a Christian, your soul was filled with sin at one point, but now it is purified by God. God purified your soul when his son, Jesus Christ, died on a cross for us. So when you believe in him, your soul is purified by God. Not only that, but your soul is purified by your obedience to the truth. And now let me break that down for you a little bit. Obedience is important because obedience is part of the purification process. And that obedience isn't just an obedience to do what you want or listen to God whenever you get ready or do what God says whenever you feel like it. I feel like that's how we get sometimes. God tells us, hey, hunt, I'm going to need you to do this, go here and do that. And sometimes we get like, nah, bro, like, not happening. Not doing it. Sorry, God, not today, buddy. But in reality, I think the ultimate act of obedience was when Jesus obeyed God and gave up his life for us. So that made me think, what if Jesus decided not to be obedient? What if Jesus saw us and was like, God, like, you want me to die for them? A lot of them aren't even going to worship you. A lot of them are going to mock you and disrespect you and hate your people. God, I'm not dying for them. I'm not doing that. What if Jesus was disobedient. Think about that. But you have to understand part of the purification process is obedience. Why? Because it transforms your heart and your mind. Also, understand that it's important that we're obedient to the truth. Because I feel like oftentimes we hear a lot of things in the world and we're like, okay, like this sounds good, so I'll be obedient to that. But it's not obedient. You understand it's not obedient to your truth, right? We're not being obedient to our truth. You're not being obedient to my truth, Hunter's truth. You're not obedient to any of the Sunday school leaders' truth, right? We are obedient to God's truth. Because God's truth is the objective truth. It is the highest form of truth. And by being obedient to the truth, that, at the end of the day, is what purifies your heart and your mind, not anything else. We need to love one another because God loved us first. I'm going to read you guys this verse. It's John 13, verses 34 through 35. It says, as a new command I give you, love one another, as I have loved you. So you must love one another. Not should, you must love one another. Verse 35. It says, by this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. We need to love one another because God loved us first. And if we go back to that Greek term, like I talked about earlier, philia, that brotherly love, understand that that's not like a love, like a like a girlfriend, boyfriend, mushy, gushy kind of love. That's a brotherly love. Someone who's gonna be there for you no matter what. Have your back no matter what. Be there for you during your hardest times. That kind of love that a sibling would have for one another. That's the kind of love that Peter's trying to tell us about. Because during those times, or during that time that Peter's talking about, those people, they're being persecuted. They're going through it. But he's telling them to love one another so that they can make it through that hard time of persecution and hardship. The next part in verse 35, it says, by this everyone will know that you are my disciple if you love one another. Understand that by loving one another, the world will know who you represent. They'll see you and be like, whoa, like why is he or she acting this way? Why is she treating people so nicely? Why is she giving so much, or everyone so much respect? Why is she so kind? Why does she always share her things? When people see those kind of things, like they're gonna get curious because in the world that we live in today, people aren't like that. You can see that on social media. You can see that from celebrities. People aren't loving. But when you treat people that way, they'll know that you represent God. They'll know that you love God. They'll know that you are loving your brother sincerely. Because you can still love someone and have selfishness in your heart. But when you're loving someone sincerely, you're loving them all out. And that's the kind of love that we need for our brothers and sisters. I'm going to read you guys this verse. Listen up, listen up, listen up, listen up. It's 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 7. It says, oh no. Okay, here we go. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects. It always trusts. Always hopes. Always perseveres. So as I was reading this, I thought to myself, what if the church loved like this? What if the people of the church set the tone like this? What if young students and young Christians like us went out to our schools and loved like this? Wouldn't that be something? You know what kind of revival that will bring into our world? If we didn't show the love of the world, but show people the love that God showed others. You see, if you learn anything today, I just want you to understand that we not only need to love God and love others because He told us to, but we need to love others and love one another because God loved us first. Because He didn't have to, He chose to. And because of this, we need to have obedience to Him. Let's all stand and pray together.